The reason the dollar narrative is that it's strong is if you tell people a lie often enough, some of them will actually believe it. Now, I would say if you say a lie over and over and over again as if it's the truth, it's still a lie. So it's a lie to say the dollar is strong. It's strong relative to the yen and relative to the euro, which are toilet paper. It's not strong versus gold. It's not strong versus Bitcoin. Other stores of value are better than a currency which can be created out of thin air.
Mark Yusko, the founder and CEO of Morgan Creek Capital Management, believes that the US dollar is at its weakest compared to other currencies. This is not surprising to analysts and observers who believe that the US dollar is overburdened and a collapse is imminent. Until recently, the dollar was known as the uncrowned king of the global economy. That is because it has not faced stiff competition from other currencies, but that does not make it invincible. The dollar has been dominant for decades, but there are now efforts by other major economies and markets to water down the purchasing power of the United States dollar. We saw the silent move of BRICS, the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, AIIB, and even the International Monetary Fund, IMF, to topple the dollar. Unfortunately, their strategies to wrestle down the dollar hegemony have not yielded good results until now. The question of whether the US dollar can lose its dominant question has been asked for decades. It was at the Bretton Woods Agreement of 1944 that the US dollar became the reserve currency of the world. It took the IMF another 78 years to approve the euro, British pound sterling, Japanese yen, and Chinese yuan as global reserve currencies. This act may have signified the beginning of the US dollar's end. Welcome to Savvy Economist, and we will discuss the sad tale of how the United States dollar is fast losing its value and grip on the global economy. We want to consider how the dollar went from being the world's safest bet to being the world's economy's weakest link. Please watch, like, and share this video. Drop your comments and observations below and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Let's dive right in. Let's listen to Mark Yusko again as he predicts the currency that will replace the US dollar.
Process has started. The renminbi has been added to the SDR. Okay, it's part of the global set of, it is a reserve currency today. It's not the reserve currency. And historically, reserve currencies were relegated to countries who had the most powerful navy. So in the olden days, in the 1400s, it was Portugal, because they had the tallest trees, fastest ships, because they had the tallest masts. Then Spain took over Portugal, they had the tallest trees, they became the world reserve currency. Then France took them over, then the Netherlands, because of the Rothschilds and the Bank of the Netherlands financing their wars, took over. Then the British created the steam engine, they took over, and then we created nuclear power, we took over. And it was because we had the strongest navy. But in the future, it's not about naval superiority. The next war will be fought with chips, not ships. It's about superiority and 5G, AI, and technology. And that's what China is killing everybody in the world. They have 96% of the citations on AI. They are killing it in 5G. 5G standard is a Huawei standard, not a US company standard. That's why they detained the Huawei person in Canada, because they're trying to stop that dominance. And so all of this is part of a 30-year plan. This is the difference, right? American politicians think in 2-year cycles. How do I get reelected? And I got to start getting reelected for my 4-year cycle 2 years in. Chinese think in 30-year plans. So from 1990 to 2020, they had a 30-year plan, a harmonious rise. They wanted to become a moderately prosperous socialism economy. Not even very threatening, kind of nice. And they moved 700 million people out of poverty into the middle class. The next 30-year plan from 2020 to 2050 is to become a great socialism economy, to become a dominant superpower. And I believe sometime over the next 20 years, the renminbi will be the world reserve currency. And then after that, we'll go to crypto.
Let's be frank, the United States dollar is about to be replaced by the Chinese yuan. This may not happen tomorrow or the day after, but China is on its way to becoming the global superpower, meaning that the Chinese yuan will become the world's reserve currency. Everyone will want to keep their money in the global superpower's currency, which will be China. Before now, several economists have agreed that the dollar will fall. They are asking when it will fall and which country will replace the dollar as the preferred currency. Now that we are at that point, we are seeing the emergence of the Chinese yuan as the preferred choice of the global economy. This could fast-track the process of China becoming the world's largest economy. No one is expecting the total collapse of the dollar. We are experiencing the decline of the US dollar. This is not the first time we will see a decline in the dollar value. Between 2002 and 2008, there was a 40% decline in its value. While several issues have been pointed to as the reason for the decline in the value of the US dollar, economists have pointed to the reliance of the United States on economic sanctions as why the dollar is on a downward slope. Due to different circumstances, we've seen a number of important economies dumping the US dollar, starting from Russia, China, India, Saudi Arabia, and Iran. The collapse of the dollar has been predicted over and over again, and a number of currencies have been predicted as the replacement of the US dollar. Nonetheless, there's a new sheriff in town, and it's ready to throw the dollar into the abyss and become the currency of the first choice. Let's put things into perspective. According to data, the US dollar has lost about 86% of its real value in the last 5 decades, and there's no stopping in sight.
They don't have the world's reserve currency. So what? And the US cut a deal with the Saudis in the 1970s to become the world reserve currency because of the petrodollar standard. But that's now shifting because now it's he who has the gold makes the rules. Who has most of the hydrocarbons? Well, Saudi and Russia. And who needs all the hydrocarbons? Well, China. So what happened? We sanction Russia, the US does. And what do? They turn around and cut a deal with China. Now China will buy all their oil because China needs a lot of oil, right? China needs to have enough oil that's equivalent to 3 Saudi Arabias over the next 50 years. It's a lot of oil, right? So they're going to buy Russian oil. So now you're seeing this interesting axis being formed between Russia all the way down to China, including Africa, including India, including Southeast Asia, Indonesia. And all of us are sitting there wringing our hands saying, well, why is that happening? Why aren't our sanctions working? Why is the ruble, the strongest currency in the world this year, it's supposed to be down because we sanctioned it? Because the rest of the world is waking up that maybe we don't need to price everything in dollars. 8% of global trade is with the United States. Yet up until a couple of years ago, 60% of global trade was denominated in dollars. And that made basically emerging markets debt slaves to the IMF and the United States.
Outside of the sanctions, another cause of the dollar loss of value is the government continued money printing and how about $9 trillion has been pumped into the economy amidst the pandemic. While the United States is doing all it can avert an economic crisis, this is depreciating the US dollar. However, we should not be happy that the US dollar is losing its hegemony. There will be a negative effect of the loss of value of the US dollar on the global economy. This could signal more inflation and even jeopardize the economies of low-income countries. As a newly created channel, we need all the help we can get. To support us, please watch, like, and share our videos. You can also subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.